Welcome into Locked On Sports Atlanta. My name is Jarvis Davis. I will be your host for today. But sitting right next to me, in front of you, is Matt Russell. He's a former PGA Tour guy, a tour player, and also he works for PXG Fitting Custom right here in the city of Atlanta. Matt, I got to start off with this. My first question to you, I always first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I got to say, my question to you is, how did you get started in golf? Like, when did you fall in love with the game of golf?
Okay, so my dad started taking me when I was in diapers. So I'm 50
Wow.
this year. That was almost half a century ago. But my dad was a passionate golfer, loved the game, and his deal with my mom was he could go play on the weekends if he took me. So that was
Oh,
childcare, but that was my ticket. And from two
yeah.
to 3 years old on, every weekend with my dad, Saturday and Sunday, we I grew up at Eastlake. We were
Nice.
going, Saturday about midday, Sunday right after church, but it was like that's what we did on the weekends, every weekend. And that was my childhood. That's what all I did was play golf. So I fell in love pretty early on, playing a lot. That's a lot of golf to play as a kid. And then there were tournaments in Atlanta. There was a junior golf association. The head coach at Georgia Tech ran the junior golf association, so it was really
Nice.
well run. And it's called the Atlanta Junior Golf Association. So I started playing tournaments when I was 7,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, really early. But so my whole life I've played golf. It's been a part of my entire life since I can remember.
So, being that you got started off playing really early, and
Hmm.
by the way, that deal that, hey, as long as you take the child with you, like my wife is starting to implement that
You
because
got that? Yeah.
I got into golf in my late 30s, so I'm fairly new to it. So yeah, figuring out I can play on a consistent basis. Yeah, if it takes me taking my 7-year-old with me, I'm all for it.
There
So,
you go.
but playing those tournaments that early, do you feel like that was one of the reasons why you ended up to go on to play professionally, or how did that work? How did that? I'm interested how that transition went from, hey, I'm out here playing with my dad, then I'm going into tournaments. But how did it get to the point where you say, you know what, I think I could do this and get paid for
So the picture in my mind when I was 7, 8 years old was I was going to play professional golf. Like that's just it. There was no other thing I was going to do. I was pretty good at that age. At 10, 11, I was kind of peaked. I was, relatively speaking.
it?
This
Yeah.
is all pre-Tiger. So, golf took
Yes.
this huge jump in popularity
Absolutely.
after Tiger. But, at 10, 11, I was pretty good and winning tournaments. And so it's like I'm going to play on the PGA Tour. That's just it. There's no other thing in my life. And so there's a point for a lot of players in golf where you get a burnout, and it could be in other
Right.
sports too. But when you
Hmm.
start early in anything, you can burn out. I burn out at about 15,
Okay.
and wanted to play other sports, wanted to do other things. But that helped me because when I came back to the game, when I went off to play in college, like I was fresh again. A lot of guys didn't burn out till
Yeah.
they got in college, and then they were done. But for me, I went through this little burnout phase, got over that, fell in love with the game a second time when I was 18, 19 years old. And then I rode the college golf back into this like legitimate, I could go play this for a living. This is not a dream anymore. This is okay. How am I going to raise money? Where am I going to actually go do this to compete? What tour am I going to play on? And that's what I did when I got out of college. That's I turned pro, and for 5.5 years, I chased it. But yeah, it went through two. It went through the dream phase, little burnout, and then a second like fall in love with the game again, which is a cool experience. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed my college golf career. It was phenomenal because of that. I was very fresh.
Yeah, that's cool that you said. That's interesting that you said because I know for me, when I grew up playing football, and I didn't start playing football till like my ninth grade year in high school. So I was
Hmm.
kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as I didn't grow up playing the game. So it was kind of like, okay, I like this. This is kind of cool. And then I started talking to different scouts in my junior year in high school, and like, oh, I can go play college football with this. I can go get a scholarship. And then as I got into college, I started, gradually getting better, and I was able to have a couple workouts for some NFL teams, and then I ended up playing professionally in the arena league. So it's just I get that whole falling in love with the game,
Yeah.
like because I never had a chance to really get burnt out until I decided to say I'm gonna hang it up. So with that being said, like what what hits you when you say, you know what, I think it's time for me to hang up my golf shoes.
So two things happened. The first was I had a child, And her first year of life, I was gone. And in golf, when you're playing well, you're gone more. When you're playing poorly, you're home more.
Right.
So you can't win either way. Because if I was home, I was, depressed that I'd missed the cut or something. But I missed her, some pretty significant milestones. From a competitive standpoint, I got to play with some really, really good players, some guys that have gone on to incredible careers like Stuart Sink, Chad Campbell, Zach Johnson, like guys that were legit good at the game.
Right.
And when I was like comparing my game to their game, it wasn't just a little bit off. It was, there's a big difference in the quality of their play. And so I had a lot of work to do. I'd been working really hard, 4 or 5 years, dedicated, year round, really working. And it was like, man, they are way better than I am. And I'm 27 and I have a child and all my friends have MBAs and real careers.
Yeah.
And I'm chasing a
making really good money.
Exactly. So, some of it was reality. And it's just, the minute that hits, the passion, even if it's diminished a fraction, and you probably saw this too, like
Absolutely.
You have to want it with every fiber of your being. And if there's one little, question mark in your head, you're not going to, have it with the same passion. And so that's when it was like, you know what, I gave it a good run. I'm glad I did it. I don't regret 1 minute of spending the time trying to make a career out of it. I learned a lot of lessons. And right now, I mean, having played college and professional golf is a major asset to have as an experience in my life in working in golf. So I don't regret it at all, but I also don't regret quitting at 20. I was 27. I don't regret making that choice either because, there's some guys that kept going a little too, a little too far, and so I didn't do that either. I kind of quit at a good time also.
So you avoided the strain in
a little bit.
Aspect. Yeah.
I was playing my best golf. I got to a level where I was pretty good. I was winning some lower level tournaments, but I was winning. And that's when I retired. And that felt good too, to be like, I didn't go out, with a bad taste in my mouth. I went out by choice.
Absolutely. So how did you get linked up with PXG?
Well, PXG was hiring. And when you're working in golf, I was working for the PGA Tour Superstore. So I was working in golf in the retail side.
Okay.
Manufacturers don't hire a lot. Like the jobs are so good. They're really, desirable that the guys that get the jobs don't retire. So like the Titleist ball rep for North Atlanta is the same guy that was there when I went off to college in 1992. He's the same guy doing the same job, and he will do it till he doesn't want to do it anymore. But
almost like a government job, right?
Yeah. So if every 40 years there's a turnover, you don't get a lot of choices. So PXG was hiring. It was a new brand, new to the market in Atlanta, a growing brand. It was a brand that I did not represent at the PGA Tour Superstore. Like PXG is not sold through retail. So I didn't know a lot about the company, but I knew enough to be like, wow, I really like the idea of working for this new innovative brand. I think I'll apply. And they hired me. And so, I took the job. I don't regret it. 2 weeks after I took the job, COVID hit. And, the whole world changed for a couple months there. And our owner, Bob Parsons, kept everybody on who, I thought I was only here 2 weeks. Like, oh, I'm going to be the first one cut.
Right. First in, first out, right?
That's right. And,
last in.
Yeah, exactly. Out. And he kept us all on. And it was like, wow, okay. That tells me something about him, about the company, about the commitment to, what we're trying to do. And, bought a lot of loyalty for me for this company. So I was very lucky, very fortunate to get the job when I got it. And, it's been a great ride. That was almost 4 years ago now.
Okay. So what exactly do you do at PXG, or for the folks that don't know out there?
So, PXG is a custom fit golf company. That's our, desire is for every player who plays our product to be fit for it. So I manage the fitting team for the state of Georgia, which means we have a retail location here in Buckhead at Lenox Mall. And then we do mobile fittings. We have a van with all of the mobile fitting components where we go account to account from green grass facility to driving range to indoor facility to do fittings. And so I manage that process, that team of fitters. I do fittings as well. It's what I love to do in golf. The two ways to get good really quickly, or lessons and getting your clubs fit. And
Mm.
in the order is usually to get your clubs fit first, and then to go develop your technique, and then go practice. A lot of people do it reverse. They try to practice and then maybe take a lesson or two, and then think about club fitting. So what I get to do is have an immediate impact on people's performance. When the clubs are not fitting, you're trying to do this game, which is not easy. It's not an easy game. It's difficult. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's challenging. But that misfit of the club might be the reason that you're struggling. And we get to eliminate that and instantly see some improvement in the game, and hitting more fairways, greens, getting the ball in the hole quicker. Then people light up. It's like, wow, I can knock 5 or 6 shots off overnight. That's a good deal. And they tell other people about it. So, that's what I get to be a part of. It's a lot of fun, because usually it's all good things. People give us feedback like, wow, I'm playing some really good golf. I'm really enjoying it. And that's very rewarding when you're in sales, to get the feedback that what you've done has an impact.
Absolutely. And Matt, last one for you. Now, like I said, I got into golf a little bit later on in my life. I wish I would have found it earlier, but I'm the type of guy where I have mismatched clubs. Like you might find a Titleist in there, and you might find a no-name brand golf club in there. And I kind of just go with that. Convince me, Jarvis Davis.
Tee it up for me.
A late bloomer, why custom fit club? Now, granted, I'm about 6'5", I'm about 340 pounds, so I'm an average size football player, not an average size human being, an average size football player. So convince me that, hey, I probably need to consider getting some custom fit club.
Well, I'm going to convince you 2 things. You got to get them for PXG first, but so it's like this, the easiest analogy to me is your shoe size. There's one size that fits, and none of the other ones fit. So I'm an 11 wide. If I put an 11 narrow, I can make it work, but it doesn't fit. It's not going to feel good. I can put a 10.5 wide on. I can put an 11.5 wide on. So I can be real close, but there's one size that fits and nothing else does. So if your clubs don't fit, the only way to hit a good shot is to make a bad swing. Because if you make a good swing, you'll get a bad shot. The outcome is not tied to the technique. So there's a bad feedback loop. So that's one of the variables we want to eliminate, is we want to boil it down to just what you're doing, producing the shot that you're seeing, and getting your clubs fit, get you there. PXG, from a company standpoint, is built around this. We have the most customizable clubs, so we can move weights. We can, length and loft and lie are important in the golf club, but weight and where how the club is reacting to how you deliver it to the ball is important as well. So, there's another element to it, which is to get the clubs to perform when they're fit. But just from a fitting standpoint, it's the best thing you can do for your golf game to improve quickly.
All right, I'm convinced. I'm
there
about
we
to
go.
Tell my wife, I'm about to throw all my money away and get these custom fit clubs. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you joining us today right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Folks, if you want to check out this episode, make sure you go to the Locked On Sports Atlanta YouTube channel, and also you can download it wherever you download your podcast. We'll see you next time right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Join the Locked On Sports Atlanta Insiders, where you get breaking news, the inside scoop, and exclusive content delivered directly to your phone. Plus, you get a one-on-one conversation with your boy, me. Yes, one-on-one with Jarvis. Yes, I'm telling you, one-on-one with me. And for all the people that join, I got a special thing for you. All 22 review, I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. I'm giving you all the insight, so you can be a part of the Locked On Sports Atlanta Insider. Sound like a good deal? Go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnSportsAtlanta. That's joinsubtext.com/LockedOnSportsAtlanta and become a Locked On Sports Atlanta Insider today.